everyone. So, if you're watching this, it means that you couldn't catch us in person, which is great because that's why we're recording them for YouTube. So, this week's spiritual talk, as you can see, is going to be about the works of mercy. So, I know in person, if you have any questions, you can ask right away, but still applies for YouTube. So, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll do our very best to answer them. So, let's get started. So first we're going to start with the corporal works of mercy. So we need to first define what they are before we can start talking about them. So they are found in the teachings of Jesus, which is in the Bible, and they give us a model for how we should treat all others, and specifically as if they were Christ in disguise. So that means is that even if we have grudges or not too fond of somebody, we're still called to treat them as if that person was Jesus themselves, right? Because we believe that Jesus is in every one of us. And even though that might be hard for some people, we're called to practice that, and especially through the corporal works of mercy. Because as Christians, especially as Catholics, we're very big on mercy, right? Mercy is a very strong type of love, and it means to let go, right? It means to let go of anything and to make it an unconditional type of love. So, specifically, by definition, they are charitable actions by which we help our neighbors in their bodily needs, meaning that the corporal works of mercy deal with our physical selves, which you'll see what I mean once we start going through them. So, they respond to the basic needs of humanity as we journey together through this life, meaning that the following works of mercy that we're going to talk about, we believe that all humans need to have this. Right? It doesn't mean that it's a privilege, but we believe that it's our duty to make sure, everybody can have this. So we're going to talk about each of them, and I'm going to just go a little bit in depth into each one of them. The first one is to feed the hungry. Very self-explanatory. Unfortunately, not everybody has enough to eat, or not, or doesn't have enough, or doesn't have anything to eat. Right? So we believe in feeding those. And some of these works of mercy, maybe you yourself cannot do it. Maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you don't have the time. That's fine, right? We're still called to talk about it, to encourage others who do have money and time to do that. The second is to give drink to the thirsty. It goes hand in hand with that, right? And this one maybe you can start doing just by sharing some water that you have, right? Maybe you can tell somebody who's thirsty, like, oh, just water from my water bottle, like that's fine. Right, like I've done that before, and that is a way of doing that, right? You're being merciful towards other people. It doesn't just mean for people who are very, very poor, people who are homeless. Like no, it applies to everybody. Next is to shelter the homeless. Speaking of which, so if you have the opportunity and that if you're called to or feel called to help those who are homeless, then I highly encourage you to do so. One way that if you want to, one way I'll encourage you to do that is going to St. Clair Catholic Church, our sister parish. Every month they ask for a different donation for the homeless, and something like jackets, tents, backpacks, and you drop them off in the church in a special bin, and they'll take care of the rest. You know how to distribute it properly, so that's one way you can do that. Next is visit the sick, right? Maybe you're not comfortable with that, and that's fine, right? But like if you are, right, there's some people that their ministry is to go and pray with those who are sick, or not even just pray with them, but like be with them and to attend them, right? And that might also happen like if maybe when your siblings or parents are sick and you want to help out a little bit, that counts. Next is to visit the prisoners. Again, might be more for the adults, but we cannot forget those who are in prison, right? We don't believe that just because somebody committed a crime doesn't matter anymore about them and we'll leave them to rot now. We believe that they're still human beings with dignity. So there is a ministry called prison ministry, and it deals exactly with that. Next is to bury the dead, which is very important, right? We believe that, or more like we don't believe that once people die, that's it, we forget about them. No, we believe in arranging a funeral for them and to help the family members who are still there, right? Help them out, right? So maybe if you have had somebody in your life that has passed away, maybe you remember that there was a lot to be done, and that counts. Last one is give alms to the poor. So alms means give money to the poor, right? It's like a fancy Catholic way of saying that. And one of the main parts of Lent is almsgiving, which is why we're talking about the works of mercy during Lent. So if you have extra money, I encourage you to do that. You can do that at church, right? You can give money to for the church or our own St. Vincent de Paul Society. They help exactly with that. So I would highly recommend to talk to them to donate time or money. So next, we're going to talk about the spiritual works of mercy. So the corporal works of mercy deal with the body. So the spiritual works of mercy deal with the soul, right? So they go hand in hand, and you'll see just how. So they're also in the Bible, of course. That's where we get them from. And Jesus attended to the spiritual well-being of those he ministered to. So then they help us to help our neighbor in their spiritual needs. So there's a lot of stories of Jesus praying for people or encouraging us to pray for them, and that's what these deal with. So we're going to go through these right now. First is to counsel the doubtful. So counsel means, to work with, talk to somebody. Somebody's doubtful, they're having doubts, right? I mean, right now the world is crazy, and things happen. Life is crazy. Maybe if you can be there for somebody, just talk to them or just listen, right? Listening is very important too. So I encourage you to do that. Listen to your friends. Maybe if your family, somebody's venting to you, just listen, right? Be with them. Say yes, like you can do this. Even if it doesn't seem like it might help, it usually does. Next is instructing the ignorant. Now, even though it says instructing the ignorant doesn't mean to be mean to people who don't understand. It's like teaching. Instructing means teaching, so we need to teach in a kind way, right? There's some people that think, oh, if somebody doesn't know something, they're shame on them, it's wrong. No, it's mercy, right? They're not the spiritual works of, however we do them. No, it's mercy, meaning that we need to be as kind, gentle as possible, and as patient as possible, which is probably the hardest one. So if somebody doesn't understand something, or even like maybe in life you might encounter somebody who is prejudiced against you, maybe it's like racist or sexist, and that maybe comes from ignorance, right? So again, that's where the patience comes in to instruct them of how things actually are. Next is admonishing the sinner. Again, admonishing doesn't mean that we have to do it in a very mean way. It means we need to identify that somebody is sinning and try to help them, right? Try to see like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that, and help work with them as well. Maybe we're called to do that, maybe we're not. And of course, either way, we have to start with ourselves, right? Because all of us make mistakes, and mistakes are not the end of the world. They're not bad. Doesn't mean we're horrible people. Doesn't mean that once we make one sin, that's it, it's over. No. All right, we go to confession, we ask for forgiveness, and we keep working on it, and that's it, right? Once we go to confession, it's wiped away. Can't hold it against each other if we're like, oh, well, you're a sinner, you keep lying. Like, no, you're working on it, right? Next is to comfort the sorrowful. Sorrowful is somebody who is sad, right? There's a lot of sadness around, especially nowadays, and we need to be there for each other. Maybe you're not comfortable doing this, that's fine. But if you are, then maybe you can be a shoulder to cry on. Maybe you can have somebody to talk to that person, or listen to them, or both. Be for them, be there for them, or hug them, or whatever they need, whatever they're comfortable with, whatever you're comfortable with. Next is to forgive injuries, very big one. And injuries doesn't just mean physical. It means when somebody does something wrong against you, maybe somebody steals from you, somebody says something that hurts really bad, we're called to practice forgiveness, which is very difficult. And we work on it. Practicing doesn't mean you just do it and that's it. No, it means you work towards it. You take a deep breath and you start saying, I want to forgive that person. I don't want to be mad at them all the time, right? We're not Christians. We're not called to be mad all the time. We're called to work on it, but same thing, right? God is merciful towards us. He's not going to be like, you better forgive them right now, or else if you don't forgive them right away, you're a bad person. No, we're all working towards this together. Next is to bear wrongs patiently. Again, patience is a very big one. So when somebody's doing these things to you that are wrong or that is hurtful, we need to be patient, right? And that's something that Jesus teaches us, and even back then, very hard for people to understand. But the way we do this is with patience, right? We need to be so much patience, right? For example, for my own life, when I was growing up, my brother and I did not get along so well, and I would get mad at him all the time because he would do things that would annoy me, upset me. And one day I realized I don't want to be mad at him all the time, but he's still doing these things, right? He's young, he's immature. That's fine. I realized that he's gonna keep doing it. He's learning how to be a mature person, and it's not gonna help him if I'm really mad at him all the time. I had to say, you know what? He's gonna sing really loud. He's gonna say annoying things, but that's fine. He's my brother, and I want to work towards loving him instead of being mad at him. Last one is to pray for the living and the dead. So, self-explanatory, but interesting to notice that we're not just called to pray for those who are alive, like our family or friends, but we're also called to pray for those who already passed away. Right? We don't know where their souls are gonna go, but hopefully they go to heaven, and we have to pray for that. Right? Maybe they're in purgatory, and if you don't remember what purgatory is, it's a place where people, after they pass away, they're going to heaven, but they're not quite ready to go straight to heaven. Right? They're gonna spend some time healing, and we need to pray for them. Right? We need to pray so they can go through that healing as quickly as possible and go to heaven too with God. Right? Once you're in purgatory, you're going straight to heaven, but you still need to pass that. So you never know where somebody's soul is after they pass away. So if they're alive, if they're not with us anymore, we're called to pray. And again, with Lent, prayer is the other very important part that we need to be doing. So maybe you can spend some time praying for somebody in your life that's passed away, or just in general. It doesn't have to be somebody specific. You can just be like, God, I want to pray for people who have passed away recently, or for the souls in purgatory. And that's it. All right. So those were the works of mercy, both corporal and spiritual. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll answer it as best as possible. Or you can ask us in person as well. If you catch us at church or wherever, I'm more than happy to talk about things. It's not a bother for me. Just go up and ask me any random question. I'll happily answer. All right. So with that, we'll catch you. When we catch you, right? We're praying for you all the time. That's one of the things we're called to do, and we definitely do it. We love to pray for you guys, and you're always in our prayers. So, hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you at Mass. Bye.